What are we even doing here, man? My fists are clenched right now. Just thinking about football. It shouldn't even be like this. I thought we'd got past this. I genuinely thought we'd moved beyond the need for me making a video like this. Inshallah and outshallah, swear down, someone, if you're listening, someone make me a QPR fan instead. Actually, to be fair, what was QPR's result today? Okay, yeah, all right. Yeah, safe. Just hit me with like a C4 instead. Liverpool played Bournemouth this weekend. We lost to Bournemouth this weekend. For the second half, I was watching this game on a train, on rail replacement, bro. I was on a bus that was pretending to be a train. That's already bad enough as it is. Dealing with the trains of the United Kingdom is already bad enough without needing to watch Cody Gakpo for a full 90 minutes. We went 2-0 down in the first half. Virgil van Dijk got us a goal back just before half-time. Dominic Szoboszlai, with his usual sensual self, made it 2-2. And then we conceded the winner to Bournemouth with the last kick of the game. It's actually not fun to watch my team anymore. And I know that gets thrown around by every slightly, moderately unhappy football fan in the entire league. At the end of the day, playing nice football isn't necessary for winning games and being successful. Just look at Mikel Arteta. You don't have to play nicely to get good results here, but we're not even getting them. We've won 5 games since September. This is like Brighton form. Not even that. That's actually hugely disrespectful to Brighton. This mythical unbeaten run that we were on, the worst unbeaten run in history. We were just drawing games. We weren't winning. We weren't losing. We were just there. And there were 4 draws against teams that, largely speaking, we should have been beaten, apart from Arsenal. Talking about this unbeaten run like it was impressive. Usually in unbeaten runs, you win some games. It's like saying you're doing a good job on not having to pay out anything on your car insurance. You don't even drive the fucking car. Of course you're not getting in any accidents. This game, honestly, was one of the most concerning of the year, you know, for me. You know, when you're in denial, yeah, and you go, right, okay, we might be bad, yeah, we might be bad defensively, but it could get better. Bro, it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen, fam. Every single goal we conceded in this one was absolutely nuts. I mean, the first goal, for example, Marco Senesi swings a ball over the top. Virgil van Dijk in the high winds of Bournemouth feels a breeze like knock unadjacently his aura slightly out of its usual proportion. Tries to flick it. I mean, I don't even know what he's really attempting with like an outside of the boot flick to put the ball out of play. Misses it completely. It swung across and we are 1-0 down. He complained afterwards saying it was a tricky situation to deal with because of the fact that it was windy. This man was ready to blame weather systems off the rip.
We mustn't forget that it's been raining, so...
What was the weather like for Bournemouth during this game? They must have got off scot-free with some beautiful sunshine. Virgil, look, I don't want to be that Liverpool fan, but for this 90 minutes, we have to have a conversation.
Leave the football before the football leaves you.
There is a legitimate argument that he was at fault, or certainly significantly at fault, for every single goal we conceded. But we'll come back to the defenders because they're going to get ripped into as well in a second. But in attack, we were also pretty useless as well. We had an XG of, what, 0.79 against one of the most chaotic and open defenses in the entire Premier League. The new sports I am going to have to create for this result are unimaginable. Albanian above ground competitive Connect 4 this week. Ecuadorian under-soil heated 18-wheel truck reverse parallel parking this month. Oh, how devilishly disastrous. Arne Slot, I'm putting you back in the Arne Slot penitentiary, bro. And this time it's a life sentence. The downfall of Slotball needs to be looked into, like, immediately. I've not seen us defend this badly since the last game that we played in. Arne could be seen modelling for Pek Zwolle this week. I think they brought out like some new centenary or celebration kit, and he was modelling it, which Liverpool fans had a bit of a problem with, to be honest with you. I don't have a massive issue with it. He's like a club legend there in terms of his playing days, but also he's now found his level. That's him. That's it, bro. This stuff, it worked last year with the Klopp DNA, but it's not getting me. It's not working now. So that's him. It might sound harsh at the end of the day because this man was a Premier League winner last season. I think, I'm joking about the Klopp DNA. I think he did enough with different players that Klopp even didn't get the best out of, like a Ryan Gravenberch, to suggest that it was him that deserved to win the league, right? He is a Premier League winner of last season. And I say last season because we've got about as much chance of winning League 1 as we do the Premier League this campaign. wee bon and that. But it's not harsh because consistently playing Cody Gakpo is a sackable offence. He'd be in a completely different job right now with his current form if he didn't have a Dutch passport. There has to be some sort of 9-chem link going on between the two of them. That's the only reason he can continue to play him this regularly. Arne Slot, if he had endless resources for his Liverpool team, it would be a very interesting read. So I'm thinking obviously Pele goes in. Yeah, love that. Makes sense, Arne. Maradona, Lionel Messi, R9, Cody Gakpo. What the fuck are you talking about? I need Gakpo to be the victim of an unsettling paranormal experience. Because our results, like genuinely, I'm pretty sure before we went on the 4-game drawing run, we'd not had Gakpo in the team because he was injured. We were doing well. We were actually winning a couple games. He comes back. We haven't won since. Meanwhile, I'll be falling apart when Fabrizio Romano inevitably posts or tweets later on today that Liverpool have the 100% full backing of Arne in the window this month.
Say wallahi, bro. Say wallahi.
Now, I spoke about the first goal in this one being a defensive calamity. Virgil van Dijk not dealing with the ball over the top. And then also, by the time the ball's actually getting put centrally for Evan Nilsson to convert, both our wing-backs aren't even in the area. Milos Kerkez and Jeremy Frimpong, I know both of them love to attack, but you are also wing-backs. You do need to defend as well. Neither of them even being in the penalty area at that stage is actually insane. But there was then no street smartness whatsoever from our entire squad, which is crazy to think from a team that won the league last season, and that under Jurgen Klopp, you would argue that was one of our biggest strengths, really, was like dealing with games and being intelligent in certain situations. So Joe Gomez gets injured during the course of the first goal. He clashes with Alisson. He goes off injured. He's off the pitch for 6 minutes, and at not one point does anybody on the field play decide it might be a good idea to get this ball out of play so we can make a substitution and bring on Wataru Endo. The ball stays in play the entire time despite Arne Slot and his coaches screaming at people like Alisson to just pump the ball out of play so we can go back to actually having 11 men on the pitch. What do Bournemouth go and do? They go and score again. Once again, Virgil van Dijk, you could argue, is at fault here. Doesn't keep a good defensive line. Plays his man on side. Milos Kerkez is also poor as well for allowing the ball inside him. Whoa, pause. He has been a lot better recently. He did a great job to pocket Bukayo Saka to an extent, and I think he also did a good job against Marseille. But this one was on him, for Jimenez to make it 2-0. We've not helped ourselves at all. Defensive frailties, one-on-one defensive errors, an outright lack of awareness and thinking to just put the ball out of play. I mean, in the days where we had a midfield where it was like Jordan Henderson, Wijnaldum and Fabinho, that ball's going out of play. Someone's getting crunched to allow for Endo to come on. We don't seem to have that awareness as a team right now, and the street smarts to think about something that isn't just the ball there and then. Now, the first half for me was, again, about defensive frailties and defensive errors. I don't actually think Arne Slot was massively at fault for anything that happened in the first half, apart from maybe not starting Hugo Ekitike. Hugo's just come back from injury. He was obviously great midweek, but you don't want to play him too much because he is our best attacker. He is our only attacker that looks like he's capable of doing anything consistently. So we do want to try and wrap him in bubble wrap a little bit and make sure that he's not getting injured immediately again. But Cody Gakpo, once again, very average, very predictable. I thought Mo Salah was really poor in the first half as well, having come back from AFCON now. So overall, we weren't good going forward. In the final third, we were quite wasteful. There was a couple moments where we were really close to a really great ball in behind for Mo, but it just ran out of play because of the wetness of the pitch. But that's just one of those things. But then into the second half, it absolutely became on Arne Slot. Yes, we fought back from 2-0 down to 2-2. Again, we're playing Bournemouth. I've seen people say this is a good Bournemouth side. Don't get it twisted. Bournemouth aren't dickheads. They're not shit. But this isn't the Bournemouth at the start of the season. This isn't even the Bournemouth of last season. This is a Bournemouth side that have lost 3 of their best players in terms of from their defense, being Hyson, Zabani, and obviously Kerkez, who was playing for us. They lost their goalkeeper in that time. They've downgraded in terms of goalkeeper because Petrovic is not better than Kepa. And now they've even lost Antoine Semenyo. You could honestly make a case that all of their 5 best players from last season aren't at the club anymore. I don't know if you'd put Kepa in that category, actually. But either way, whatever the situation, this is a as weak Bournemouth side as you've seen in like the last 3 years. They're quite open defensively. They're a bit kamikaze. They like a basketball match. And the fact we struggle to create so much against them is a real issue. We did fight back in the second half, or at the end of the first half, and in the second half as well. Once again, Szoboszlai. Without him, we'd genuinely be in the relegation zone. But the substitutions and game management were horrible. Why did Jeremy Frimpong Frimpong come off. At that stage, at that moment where Frimpong is off, we've now got not one player on the pitch that can really just burst past their man anymore. You know, we brought on Ryongamo LA. That was nice. I feel like Arne Slot just throws him to the wolves sometimes, bringing him on when we're losing. But at the very least, that was some impetus. But again, yeah, game management, like ability to actually make good substitutions. And it bit us at the end because we then had one final run of absolutely shambolic defending to lose this with the final kick of the game. Our entire defense, like, don't know what to do, looking up as a long ball comes into the area. It's yet another throw-in in the last minute, like Crystal Palace earlier on in the season when we lost to Eddie Nketiah. This time, it was Adley who scored with the last kick of the game. Virgil van Dijk, for some reason, it kind of makes sense in my mind, obviously, to go for that first ball, but he gets caught under it. He trips over Curtis Jones. He was looking for a foul. It bounces around. We have about 3 opportunities to deal with it. We don't. Alisson can't claim. Adley prods it in. And I think, honestly, if there was a goal to sum us up this season, defensively, I honestly think it would be that. Long throw-in or set piece of any kind. I can't stress to you enough, lads. Our set piece coach ain't setting anyone's pieces, bro. I want him gone. I don't know who our set piece coach is, actually. I can't remember what his name is. But whoever it is, we got to get them out the door because defensively and offensively this season from set pieces, we are useless. We scored one, obviously, in this game with Virgil van Dijk. That was the first time in, I think, 130 corners we'd scored from a corner. And if you gave Arsenal 130 corners, they'd score 131 of them. The fact that we are so bad from set pieces is insane. And then the other end of the pitch, we can't fucking defend them either. Virgil van Dijk makes an uncharacteristic mistake in the moment, and then we get about 4 opportunities to clear the ball away, but can't do it. And we lose in the final minute of the game. It just sums it up perfectly. So those are a couple of the problems this season. Defensively, we are woeful. I know we're struggling with some injuries at the back at the moment. We're obviously missing Ibrahim Konate at the moment. I hope him and his family are doing, you know, as well as can be. Connor Bradley's now out with a long-term injury. Leone the same. Joe Gomez is now out injured as well. So we are struggling for numbers at the back, right? But even when we had a fully fit defense, we were poor. Ibrahim Konate was making mistakes every week, though he's managed to iron those out a little bit. Kirkes was struggling. Frimpong was injury prone and isn't the most defensive-minded wing back I've ever seen. Connor Bradley was like 50-50. You're either getting a great game out of him or pretty average, to be honest. And Virgil van Dijk hasn't been the same either, no matter whether our defense has been fit or not. And as I mentioned, set pieces, we can't score from them and we can't defend them either. We're too easy to play through. Again, I've said it time upon time. We are so slow when it comes to open play attacking. It is boring to watch Liverpool play right now, and I've genuinely not said that in maybe even longer, because we were even entertaining under Brendan Rodgers. I don't even know the last time. It's probably like Roy Hodgson era, where we weren't actually an entertainer. You always got your money's worth. Even if we were shit, you got a good game out of Liverpool for like the last 12 years, maybe even longer. The entire Klopp era, high energy. Brendan Rodgers, SAS, constant attacking, will just outscore the opponents. And I'm not saying, again, you don't have to play nice football to win, to get good results. I'm not saying that yet, but we're not getting either. We're being decidedly average against average teams in this league. We've not beaten a promoted team at home. This season, it's not going to happen. We played every promoted team from the Championship at home this season. We've not won a single game against them. Burnley, Leeds, or Sunderland. That is ridiculous. It's because we don't get the ball forward quickly at all. It's just sideways passing constantly. We're unbelievably predictable. I've dug out Cody Gakpo so many times, and he wasn't catastrophic against Bournemouth, right? He wasn't terrible, but he has been terrible at times. He's so predictable. You know exactly what Cody Gakpo is going to do when he gets the ball. And it's not like Iron Robin, where you can't stop it. It's not like Jeremy Doku, where you can't stop it. It is very stoppable. But another problem with our season overall that I'm realising now, and definitely should have realised in hindsight, you could see it coming, especially at centre-back. You could see this issue coming. I spoke about it at the end of the transfer window anyway. But I think we're really struggling with having sold so many starters and backups. And please hear me out, 'cause I know what you're going to say. Don't worry. I'm not ignoring the fact that we spent about fucking 708 billion naira in the transfer window. We bought Florian Wirtz, British transfer record fee. We bought Alexander Isak, British transfer record fee. We bought Hugo Ekitike. We bought Kirkes. We bought Frimpong. We bought a lot of good players on paper for a lot of money. Do not get it twisted. Totally understand that. Park that there, yeah? We also sold, in terms of numbers, a lot of players. Like, we recouped a lot of money, which we were then able to actually convert into signing these guys. Our net spend was basically the same as Arsenal, right? But But we got rid of what? Luis Diaz, Darwin Núñez. We obviously, of course, tragically lost Diogo Jota. We sold Jarell Quansah. We sold even people like Tyler Morton, who didn't really have much of an impact last season, but have gone on to have a really good impact for the clubs that they're playing for now, in, Morton's case being Lyon. Kostas Tsimikas, Harvey Elliott. These are players that, whilst wouldn't be playing every week, if we were going through the same injury crisis or having the same injuries or struggling with certain players not being in form, not being in the form they should be, we'd be able to call on these players. I honestly think our season would be totally different if we had Luis Diaz. Luis Diaz was really frustrating last season at times, but he was never as bad as Cody Gakpo has been this season. And at least if Cody Gakpo wasn't performing, we could have gone, we've got Luis Diaz, who's tearing it up for Bayern Munich, by the way, domestically and continentally. This season, we could have relied upon him and, chucked him in. The centre-back issue. Jarell Quansah comes in, stable, at the back. We're not having to play Wataru Endo or Graven Birch at centre-back. I just think it was bad squad management. I'm not saying that we should be considered underdogs because of that at all. Not what I'm trying to suggest. I think, if anything, it's an indictment on bad running of the club. We didn't need to sell all the depth that we have to sign Alexander Isak. We made a deal with the devil there, and now he's out injured for the rest of the season. And we've not got Diaz, Núñez, Quansah, these guys, Harvey Elliott, these guys that actually would have been important at a time like this. We're even talking about selling Andrew Robertson now to Tottenham. Who the fuck are we going to have at left back? Milos Kerkez is going to play every game between now and the end of the season. What about trying to recall Kostas Tsimikas from his loan at Roma? This is bad management of the squad. It is. If you're having to recall players because you're running out of players, you've done a bad job at creating the squad. Yes, we've got injuries, but it should never get that bad. It genuinely shouldn't get to this point because it was so unbelievably predictable when we went into the season with 3 senior centre-backs. We were so predictable. We knew we needed to sign Guéhi because all we had was Konate and Van Dijk and then Leone, who's a child, and then he did his ACL. So we knew we needed Guéhi and we still didn't go out and get a centre-back. We still haven't gone out and got a centre-back. Mark Guéhi's now gone to Manchester City. We've missed that boat. We could have got one of the best centre-backs in the league, in my opinion, pound for pound, for 20 mil, but we were just faffing about trying to sign Alexander Isak instead when we'd already spent 90 mil on a striker. There's a lot of talk about the manager now. There's a lot of talk about should Arne Slot, well, there was anyway, about Arne Slot going. And for me, it's crazy. I don't even remember the last time I wanted a manager and my club sacked. I don't even know how to operate. I don't know how this logistically works. But I am starting to reach a point where I don't know if Arne Slot can turn this around. And it's not just on him. There has been mismanagement of the squad, as I said. It is completely unbalanced as a team at the moment. You've got players that are clearly kind of fading away, big stars of former years that are struggling to perform. Other players who have been thrown in kind of like together to try and make something work. They don't fit the profiles really of what Arne Slot wants or what works for a coherent starting 11 in the Premier League, like having wing backs that don't defend and then having no cover for our centre backs. All this sort of stuff. We don't press effectively. I've talked about it before. But at the end of the day, Arne Slot isn't helping himself with team selection that's kind of average at times. Gakpo needs to be dropped. I've been saying it. But also with his in-game management, substitutions have been poor. Tactically, we're very, very, very easy to set up and play against. And whilst I am unbelievably grateful for him winning the league last season, one of the best moments of my life being a Liverpool fan was going to that parade and all of that jazz, and I will always respect Arne Slot. I'm not saying this in a disrespectful way. I would happily give him a bit more time, but it's looking bad. And people will say we're being dramatic because we're 4th in the league, and I hear that as well. I totally understand that. But I want you to understand, of all, 22 league games we've had now in the season, of all 22 Premier League games so far, I reckon Liverpool have been good in 3 of them. And I mean, as in we deserved to win without really any question marks. We didn't rely on a last minute goal, or it wasn't a bit of a smash and grab, or we weren't shit for 60 minutes, or frustrating to watch. I honestly think we played well in 3 games. That's insane. That means there's 19 games where we were either bad, unconvincing, or got away with it. With the amount of money we've spent on this team and the players that we have, we can't be doing that. And I feel bad for certain guys. I feel bad for Dominic Szoboszlai, because like I said, without him, I think we'd be in the relegation zone right now, legit, or 12th in the league. I feel bad for Florian Wirtz, who's really has started to properly adapt to the Premier League now. He's not the star man that he should be just yet, but putting in 7.5 out of 10s every single game at least, right? I feel bad for Hugo Ekitike, who is the one guy that settled instantly into this team and has been absolutely amazing. They all deserve better. They all deserve better. The rest of this side has to fix up immediately. Arne Slot has to fix up immediately. immediately. We played well in the league 3 times, lads, and it is the end of January. But what do you make of it? Should Arne Slot be sacked? Liverpool fans, I want to hear your thoughts down in the comments section. What do you think is the problem? Where are Liverpool gonna finish in the league as well? Answer that down below. If you enjoyed this one, slap a like on it. Subscribe if you're new. This team's pissing me off, man. I'm out of here. Flipping it.